Now we're going to do a blackberry lemon upside down cake, and this is a very easy recipe and very good, very tasty as well. So we're going to start out, I'll let you get the pan with the melted butter. We have 2 teaspoons of butter in a, I think it's an 8-inch round cake pan. Because this does not make a real large cake, so you really need to use a very small pan in order to do this. But when that melts, you can get that out. And what you do is you take a 1/2 cup of, or it's a 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and you just sprinkle the brown sugar in the bottom of the pan where the melted margarine. And
that looks good, brown sugar.
Yeah, it is good. I've made this several times. Very good. And next, you take 1½ teaspoons of grated lemon peel. And if you'll grab a lemon out of the refrigerator, I thought I would show about grating the lemon peel. And you just sprinkle the grated lemon peel in the bottom of the pan with the brown sugar and the butter. Thank you. And we have a microplane, a neat little kitchen tool.
You can smell the lemon.
You can. It smells wonderful. But this is adds so much flavor to so many different recipes to actually do this. And you just rub very gently the lemon over the blade, and then you're going to have the little tiny shavings of lemon peel, and this is what we're actually using in our cake today.
And you don't want to get the white part.
No, because that's bitter. That's very bitter, and just tap it lightly, and then that will come out. So that's the grated.
Nice to just have around the house, because it really gives a good odor.
Oh, it smells really, really good. So that's how we got the lemon peel so fine. And if you do not have one of these little gadgets, you can use like a hand grater with the very small, the smallest little slots. So you can do that to get your lemon peel as well. Okay, this recipe, of course, features blackberries. And I don't think we've featured blackberries before, have we? Have we? Okay. Well, blackberries grow throughout Kentucky, and the wild ones. And of course, what you can do is pick those whenever they're available in the summer months, and then put them in the freezer. And the way I like to do that is after you pick them, of course, you do have to wash them a couple of times at least, because you get the green leaves, and you get all kinds of stuff in them, when you're trying to pick them. So once you get them real good and clean, then what works really well is to lay those flat on a cookie sheet or like a jelly roll pan, and let those freeze. And then when they freeze, take them out and then pop them up and put them in a bag. And that way, whenever you freeze them, if you they don't all wind up being in just a big clump together. So that's a really good way of freezing.
So you can flash freeze those, because you can also do that with blueberries as well.
That works well with a lot of fruit. The same goes for like strawberries as well. So blackberries only have about 35 calories, and they have 4 grams of dietary fiber in just 1/2 a cup. So they're full of fiber, which we're told over and over and over all the time how we need to eat lots more fiber in our diets. So blackberries is very healthy for us. And look for real firm berries. Of course, when you're buying those at your local market or perhaps in the grocery store, look for them to be large, plump, and of course not shriveled, because that would indicate that they've had them on hands a while. So they're delicious cooked, and something else they're really good for is making blackberry jam and jelly
Yeah.
to put on those hot biscuits. So you can do a lot with blackberries. So we have the melted butter, we have brown sugar, and we have the lemon peel in the 8-inch round pan. So the next thing you do is you take the blackberries, and we have two cups, and we're just going to put those in here. And then we're just going to let this kind of set to the side. Okay. After, looks like it's filling it up pretty good, doesn't it? And we're going to take our batter, the cake batter, we're going to mix that up next, and we're going to pour it over the top of that. That's how you make this. So we have 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to put it in this bowl. Okay, and we have our 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and we have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, and I'm just going to take and stir this up to get the baking powder and salt mixed pretty good with the flour before we go any further.
Because those act as the leavening agents for the recipe.
Because we are using the all-purpose flour, which is plain.
Right. And you have to make sure that it's not self-rising flour that you get.
And if you are using self-rising, then you would leave the salt and the baking powder out.
Exactly.
Because some people don't keep you know, all the different kinds of flour in their
Right.
pantry. So, you know, if you wanted to make it and you didn't have the all-purpose or plain flour and you have self-rising on hands, then you would just leave the salt and baking powder out. Okay, so what you do is we have that all stirred up, and then the next thing we're going to do is take the butter and sugar and mix that together. And if you can get one of those bowls, the pinch bowl or something, we're gonna mix the butter in with the sugar, and I'm just going to take a fork. Thank you. And the recipe does say that you can do this with a mixer, but it is a very small amount, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's almost quicker. By the time you can get your mixer and your beaters and everything out, you can actually have it done.
Oh, yeah.
So you just mix the butter and the sugar together. Okay, and we're going to add the egg to the, and I'm just going to beat the egg up. It's just one whole egg. I'm going to add that to the butter and sugar mixture. Next, we're going to add the milk. Okay, and it takes a 1/2 cup of milk. So what we're doing is we have our flour and our leavening agents in this bowl, and we have the sugar and butter and the liquids, and here in a moment we're going to add the liquid in with our flour. Okay, and we have our vanilla and lemon juice. Okay, it takes a 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. So once we have all of that liquids stirred into the sugar and butter mixture, then we're just going to mix this into the flour. Okay, so you just gently mix it in, the liquid. This is making your cake batter. Okay, so, and this makes the right amount for this recipe. Okay. just going to take and make sure that I have all of the flour stirred up good in here. I saw some in the bottom there. And when we get this all mixed up, then what we do is pour it on top. We'll just set it over here. And we're going to pour the batter on the top. Okay. And we're going to bake it. And I think it's 350 degrees. Here you go. We're going to bake it at 350 degrees, and it'll take probably about 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
So we can set the timer for about 20 minutes. And we have one already prepared. And of course, whenever you first take it out of the oven, you need to let it cool, you know, a little bit before you try, because this is an upside down cake, you know, just like, you know, one that we might all be familiar with is a pineapple upside down cake, where you serve it. This is what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
So it does come out of the pan better, of course, whenever it's still warm. So you want to let it cool in the pan for probably, you know, maybe 10 minutes or so on a cooling rack, but not too long, because you don't want to leave it in the pan long enough that it starts setting up and then it won't come out of the pan.
Yeah.
So we
got it garnished with mint.
Yes, we used some fresh mint and a few fresh blackberries. And of course, if you serve this warm, which I think would be ideal, it would be, of course, delicious with vanilla ice cream or some whipped topping.
Yes.
Be very good with it. And also, that would also add, you know, and look prettier too.
And the mint is something that's easy to grow as well. Even in your container, you could just grow it in your house or in a container, you know, on your deck or porch. And mint is a really good smell to it.
And it spreads too. So you'll have enough to share with your neighbor after you've had it out for a little while.
Yeah, because I like to grow basil, and that really spreads. That's really easy to grow.
Yeah. But we're ready to try the blackberry lemon upside down cake.
Good flavor.
The blackberries really add. Well, I mean, you know, it's the main focus of the recipe, but if you know, like blackberries, it's just a really good cake recipe.
Has a good flavor.
It's sweet enough, but it's not too sweet.
Yeah.
It's about right.
That's good.
This concludes our March Plated Up Kentucky Proud episode. Thanks for tuning in to Duo County Channel 2, and hope you'll watch us next month.